Page, please.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar tonight. Welcome to Let's Chat tonight. We have amazing leaders as usual and great friends and family members. And we're here to continue a topic that was completely covered at the live by Marty and Chris Johnson tonight. Welcome to Let's Chat tonight. I'm echoing. Somebody's having their YouTube on. I cannot mute you. There you go. Good now. Should I start again? Okay, so the topic this morning that was covered by Marty and Chris on their live was very inspirational and educational. We decided why not to just continue on with the same topic, and it was the next chapter. For the next chapter, we should be prepared both in heart and mind. We should embrace it with courage, clarity, and open spirit to see the new possibilities unfold. It brings us a sense of excitement and hope. It's a journey toward time and financial freedom, opening the door to the new opportunities, personal growth, and meaningful connections. We welcome a future filled with abundance, purpose, and the opportunity to live life on our own terms. We're looking forward to educational, training, and inspirational webinars as our leaders guide us how to move forward. These sessions will empower us with knowledge and ignite our passion. Stay plugged in. Focus on factual news. Let us stay excited. Thank you for joining us. We're going to hand it to Mike Ellis. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Minoo. That was very, very good, Minoo. I didn't have a chance to listen to Marty and Chris today, they always do a great job. I'm sure it was a tremendous live that they did. And the topic, the next chapter, it's a great topic. I'll talk a little bit about ONPASSIVE today, but I want to talk about why everybody is here and why they're in ONPASSIVE. And what I want to talk about is wealth. We're all interested in wealth. That's why we're here. We want to develop wealth. We want to find that place where we can take care of that financial bottom line and be independent. We've got a pretty mature group here tonight. We are streaming, and obviously, when you start talking about wealth and developing wealth, the younger you are, the more time you have to develop that wealth. And there are ways to develop wealth independent of ONPASSIVE. And really, that's where I want to go today. There are ways that you can develop wealth without ONPASSIVE. Okay? And then I want to bring ONPASSIVE into the picture, and you'll understand how powerful what Mr. Mufareh has done, his vision, the structure of ONPASSIVE, everything he's done as far as cutting time frames. And when we start to talk about wealth, there have been precepts and concepts out there. They've been there a very, very long time. And I'm talking about thousands of years. So there really is nothing new under the sun. This stuff has been out there for a very, very long time. And there are people today that literally talk about these precepts and concepts, and they've made a living doing it, and they do very, very well. They make 6, 7, 8 figures a year. Why? Because we're all interested in building wealth, period. If you can build wealth, get to that place where you don't worry about money, and Marty talks about this all the time, he doesn't want to have to worry about money. I'm with them 100%. But if you can get there, it really is a phenomenal place to be. And the really good news is you don't need ONPASSIVE to do this. And I'll get to that. ONPASSIVE will make it a lot better, but I'll get to that. And I want to start with a few precepts, and you all will probably know where these come from. I'll let you figure that out. But the first one I want to start with is this: God gives you the ability to build wealth or get wealth. Okay? That's pretty powerful stuff. And whether you're a believer or not, it really doesn't matter. You have the ability to build wealth. Now, what do you need to build wealth? You need wisdom. And wisdom, she is something more precious than silver and gold. Why do I say that? And again, these are precepts that have been out there forever and ever and ever. And I've known these things for 20, 25, 30 years. But the reason why wisdom is more precious than gold and silver, once you have that wisdom, once you have that knowledge, you can actually implement that knowledge and put it to work for you and build wealth. And without that, without the knowledge, without the wisdom, it's really, really hard to do it. Now, you might have heard of some of these precepts that I'm going to talk about, but until you take them and put them all together and put them to work for you, it's really, really hard to get to that place where you're debt-free, where you're wealthy. The last thing I want to say before I get into the precepts is neither be a lender or a borrower. You've all heard that before. Why? You don't want to be a lender because when you lend people money, you steal their dreams, because chances are they'll never get out of debt. And you never want to be a borrower because once you get into debt, all of a sudden you become a debt slave. And if you look at the United States of America, it's probably the same around the world. Once people get into debt, they're in debt from 18 to 85 or however long they live. It's just the way it is. And until you can take care of that situation, you cannot build wealth, period. So I'm going to go over these very, very quickly. I'm not going to get in depth in any of them because I'd be here for 3 hours. But these precepts will give you the opportunity to actually build wealth. Not only build wealth, but you can be a millionaire within 8 to 12 years. Now, some of you here might already have that done. I don't know. But if we look at the overall population, 95% of the people, they never get there. So these are really, really cool precepts that if you absolutely implement them, they can do some wonderful things for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is a budget. If you've never done a budget before, in other words, take the money that you're bringing in, and that is the caveat. You have to be working. You have to be bringing money in. Obviously, if you're sitting on your couch eating Cheerios and watching TV, you can't do this stuff. But if you have a job, if you have money coming in, all of this stuff will work for you. So the first thing you need to do is create a budget and put down all your expenses, where your money goes, get it on paper so you can see it. Once you do that, here's where it gets really, really difficult. This is where people have the most trouble, having the discipline and self-control to do the things necessary to build wealth. You have to go through your budget, and those things that are luxury items, they're gone, absolutely out of there. Whether it's a cell phone, if you don't need it, get rid of it. If it's a TV prescription, get rid of it. If it's a gym prescription, get rid of it. Everything that you don't need, you skinny down big time. And a lot of us are a little familiar with that with ONPASSIVE because we've had to do the things we need to do in order to stay engaged and be an ONPASSIVE while we were waiting for ONPASSIVE to do what they needed to do to the launch. And that's kind of where we are right now. But it's kind of the same thing. You have to have the discipline, the self-control to get rid of all of that stuff. Now, once you do that, the first thing you need to do, you need an emergency fund. $1,000 to $2,000. Boom. Simple as that. Most people, it takes about 2 months to do that. Doesn't take that long. Once you do that, then you start whittling away the debt that you have. And it could be anything from credit cards to a car to a TV to whatever it is. Credit cards are a good example. If we look at the United States of America today, the people in the United States of America today are in debt about $1 trillion. It's a really, really big number. I mean, it's a big number. So you want to start whittling down your debt, and you start from smallest to largest. So you whittle down the first one, you take that money, you take it to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, until you're out of debt, not including your mortgage. I'll get to that in just a second. When you start to do this, this is where the discipline really comes in. It is not an easy thing to do to get rid of all the luxuries in your life and really focus on building wealth. But if you can do it, if you have the discipline and the self-control to do it, this works 100% of the time. It really does. And I can tell you, I've known these tenants for a very, very long time. And when I was younger, I knew about them, but I thought I could do it better. I wasn't very bright when I was younger. And I thought I could do it better. I could do it quicker. I could become a millionaire much quicker than what they thought. And this is again, 8 to 12 year period. Well, that didn't happen. And I did pretty well in some things, but because I didn't have the right mindset and the right understanding, I lost it. And it came and it went, and it came and it went. And finally, I smarted up and I said, okay, I have to take a little more precise way to do this stuff. So initially, when you get your budget, $1,000, $2,000, boom, that's your emergency fund. From there, you pay off your debt, littlest to the largest, not including the mortgage. Once you've done that, you've got a chunk of change. And from there, you start to do several things at the same time. Number one, you want to start investing, and you want to take 15% of whatever you make and invest it. You can put in a mutual fund, Roth IRA. Really, there are a myriad of investments you can put out there, and over time, you'll do very, very well. And I'll give you a quick example. Today, if you bought a new car, the payment today is about $500. That's about what it is on the average, about $500. If you pay down your debt and you have a car, you don't own anything, and you don't buy that new car and you put that in your investment over the course of time from say 25 to 65, you're going to have $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million in the bank. So debt will really steal that away from you. If you're putting that money into a new car, yeah, you got a nice car for a couple of years before it starts to go downhill. But if you can take that money, put it in an investment, you're going to do so much better by the time you reach 65. Also in that time frame, if you're, again, this is kind of for younger individuals that still have kids. If you have kids, you want to put money aside for their education, either college or trade school. You never want your children to go out into the world, get an education, and then have debt as they go into the workforce. You want them to go into the workforce debt-free. It's what we're all trying to do, not only with this system, but with ONPASSIVE, become debt-free. Debt really is the dream killer. And if you don't get out of debt, you're just never going to get to the place where you want to be. And by the way, that includes ONPASSIVE. You can make $1 million a year with ONPASSIVE, but if you spend it all, it's not a good thing to do. You need to put some of that away, and you want a legacy to leave on to your family and your extended family. So we need to invest. We need to take care of our kids and our own investment, and then we work on our mortgage. And again, I'm going through this very, very quickly, guys. The mortgage on average, it takes about 7 years to get rid of your mortgage. And I know most people, when they hear that, they go, that's impossible. You can't do that. No, you can do it. And there are ways to do that. I'm not going to get into them today. But the average individual that is really intentional about what they're doing can get rid of their mortgage in about 7 years. So we're looking at about 8 to 12 years for this whole program. Once you've gone through and you've paid off your mortgage, you're pretty much a millionaire. And here's how it looks. You either have $1 million in the cash, you either have $1 million in the bank, cash, or you have a combination of assets and cash. But both of them add up to $1 million. And because you have no debt, you are a millionaire. That's very quickly going through the tenets that have been around forever. And if you put them in order, if you use them, you will get out of debt, and you'll not only get out of debt, but you'll build wealth very, very quickly. And 10 years, that's pretty dang quick to become a millionaire. If someone would have really sat down and told me these things when I was 20, I would have been a millionaire by the time I was 30. I think all of us would agree with that. And we look at what we can do when we have discipline and self-control. Really, there are no limits on what you can do. And then we come into ONPASSIVE. And, ONPASSIVE today, we're really in a unique position, and things are changing. We are going into that new chapter. I'm not going to sit here and explain exactly how ONPASSIVE works, because Ash Mufareh is going to come out and tell us how ONPASSIVE is going to work in the new phase. When he does that, I can almost guarantee you that things are going to change. Okay. The way I explained it 5.5 years ago isn't going to be the same way I explain it when Ash comes out and gives us what's going on. But the caveat there, the vision hasn't changed. Mr. Mufareh wants to give as much away as he can, and he wants to change lives. And when we start to think about getting out of debt, using some other systems to get out of debt, and then we come into ONPASSIVE, ONPASSIVE will be here so that you can develop an online income, build that income over time, and reach the place where you don't worry about money. And when you think about that, think about a year or 2 or 3. What if it takes 5 years to build wealth within ONPASSIVE, but you can do all the things that I just talked about in that 5-year period? You're cutting 5 years off of that span it would take you to become a millionaire, to become wealthy. And that's where we all want to be. We want to be in a place where we have the wealth to be able to do the things we want to do, when we want to do them, and how we want to do them. Mr. Mufareh is going to be explaining all of that in the coming weeks. This is a really, really exciting time within ONPASSIVE. And ONPASSIVE, because of Ash's vision, we're going to be able to do all of those things we need to do to find that place where we have wealth. And it's really, really interesting. All the stuff that we're doing now is the stuff we do in between to get to the place where we can be extremely generous. Because of what's going to be coming in, it's funny. The person you are today will be the person you are when you have wealth. If you're a jerk today, you're going to be a jerk when you're wealthy. If you're a person of generosity and gratitude, when the wealth comes in, you're still going to be that person of generosity and gratitude. And the nice thing about what Mr. Mufareh is going to be doing for all of us over time, could take a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes. And you're going to see that when Mr. Mufareh comes out and explains exactly what ONPASSIVE is going to be doing. When you get there, that spirit of generosity, it really has more value than any of the wealth that you're going to accumulate. And I think everybody here and listening will accumulate a tremendous amount of wealth over the coming months and years to come. And when that happens, think about all of us here, all of the people listening on the YouTube that have good hearts. They want to be generous, and what we can do throughout the countries that we're in today. And we're a global group here. We're all over the world. What we can do where we're at. And from there, have testimonials about what's going on in the world. I can't go there. Ash talked about a couple of things. That he talked about the people in ONPASSIVE and just how good of hearts people have here, and what's going to be happening around the world. I had to watch myself, Chris, but we're in a really, really good place. Wealth can be made independent of ONPASSIVE. That's the key. You can build wealth outside of ONPASSIVE. There are many people online. Again, some of them do very, very well, and it's how they make their living, talking about wealth. Why? Because people want to hear about wealth. You can go and find those individuals online. Just look up how to build wealth and put baby steps in there. You'll go to one individual that's very, very good. And it's always good to listen to wise individuals. And the last thing I'll say, wherever wisdom comes from, more precious than gold and silver, wherever it comes from, go find it, go read it, make it your own, and then put it to use for you. if you do that, and by the way, ONPASSIVE is part of that place where you find wisdom. Mr. Mufareh has a ton of it, and he's sharing it with all of us. But wherever you find it, grab it, make it your own, and then implement it. And if you do that, everything becomes kind of easy. It really does, guys. So I wanted to go there. I wanted to talk about wealth a little bit. All of these precepts that I've talked about, they're out there. They've been out there for years and years and years. The problem is nobody uses them. The younger you are, the better off you are. With ONPASSIVE, it doesn't matter if you're 18 or 85. Because of the way Mr. Mufareh has structured it, because of the way things are going to be coming out, you're going to be able to do the things you need to do to get to that place, again, where you don't worry about finances. It's where we all want to be. Minoo, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know if you wanted to hear that today or not, but it's kind of what's been going through my mind. So there you go.
Thank you, Mike. Absolutely. So that's another version of talking to the next chapter, what's coming. The spirit of generosity, you said, it's a lot more important than the financial gain that we're going to have. And so those are all, it's amazing that you said whatever personality we have now, it's just going to probably magnify it when we get to financial means. So,
and my recommendation, Minoo, is if you're a jerk, start thinking about being a nice person. You just have a better life. You really do.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And the testimonials that we're going to have of the good deeds that we are able to do for other people. And it's just going to have a ripple effect. And also you said that follow the wise people, listen to trainings and learn from them, implement it, and that way you can improve your life and help others even better. What's beautiful is that traditional way we, including myself, working like Chris, Marty, yourself, 30, 40 years to get to that retirement, just to have maybe a few years to enjoy life. And most, or if not most, some of us come up with strange diseases and don't even get a chance to enjoy retirement. But in this next chapter for middle age and younger generation, it opens the room to get to that financial means so that they can enjoy life and live it on their own terms and conditions. So thank you. We're going to go to call-ins now. Thank you, Mike.
Hello, Minoo. Thank you, ma'am. I was just like, oh, didn't know you would call me second. Yeah, thank you very much, Minoo. I was just listening to Mike Ellis. That was really powerful, really, really great. We're talking about the next chapter, and you really break it down, which was really, really great. I don't know where I can come from, but I'll just share the little, that came in my mind today when I look at the topic, the next chapter, and it was just similar to what, I was talking in Engineer Shushanta's show today, Bangladesh. And the first thing I said, because I know the topic is really similar, a little bit similar, I said, when we look at it, we are in a very massive company, and we started from somewhere and then move up to where we are, and we're going to the next chapter. And the thing that came in my mind is, I said, all right, in a world that is like we are really moving in a fast-paced global entity, the whole world is moving very fast. If you are static, you'll be left behind. You must be dynamic. You can't be static in this fast-paced environment now. And that's where we are. If you don't know where you are coming from, you will never know where you are going. We all know where we are coming from when it comes to this company we are in today. From Mr. Ash Mufareh, he gave us a little bit. And I was just saying something today. I said, just imagine when we came in as affiliate and founder, you can give it a name, whatever you want to call it. And Mr. Ash Mufareh said, boom, this is it. Honestly, most of us will say no. It will be very scary. Maybe we'll run away. We'll say, no, we cannot stand it. We cannot take everything because it is difficult for us to comprehend. We only learn as we move, like you teach a baby how to walk or how to take the first step. But if you tell the baby that this is how you will move, maybe they will sit down and never walk again. Then you need to teach us, and that's how Mr. Ash Mufareh hold our hands and take us from one step to the other. And now we are moving to the next chapter. You know, Ash Mufareh call it the next phase, which is really great. Now, when we look at it, coming to the organization and the company and the business we are in, there is something, the system, when it comes to the corporate side of it, they always set a goal. They can set a daily goal, they can set a weekly goal, they can set a monthly goal, and they can set yearly goal. Have we set our goal? That's the thing. They have set the goal. The company, Mr. Mufareh did that. How many of us have set our own goal, what we want to achieve? When we came, maybe our goal was to make so much for ourselves. But as we learn as we go, because it's a learning curve, we learn as we go, we start to see this company and we say, wow, it's really bigger than what we think. And our goals, you know, will grow and grow. And remember what our CEO said, if you think you have dreamed, you must dream bigger. He always said we should dream bigger. How many of us have set our goal bigger than when we came into ONPASSIVE? And what is our goal? Because sometimes when we look at it, we complain, my God, things are not happening. You know, we complain, the company is not moving. Yes, we are not seeing things. It doesn't mean Mr. Ash Mufareh is sleeping. He is building this company because that is his dream. He said, if my dream is not to uplift humanity, there is no way I will build it. I'm not a traditional business person. I want to uplift. I want to change your own world. I cannot change the whole world, but I can change somebody's world. That is what Mr. Ash Mufareh said. And that is his goal, to transform us 1.4 million plus, to change it, to change our, you know, our goal, to make us to be very successful so we can also transform others. You know, I hold your hands and you hold my hand. And as we grow and hold our hands, almost 1 million or 1 billion people's life will be changed through this company we are in, you know, with Mr. Ash Mufareh as you know, our leader and the main person within this organization. How many of us have dreamed bigger? How many of us have sit back and learn as much as possible, like what Mike Ellis said? All of this information, Mike Ellis will, you know, have said a lot of things here. How many of us go back and listen without sugarcoating? How many of us listen to Mr. Ash Mufareh more and say, wow, this is really massive? Because sometimes I listen to Mr. Ash Mufareh, not the first day, but the second day and the third day, and I can make a sense of what he is saying. How many of us do that? Because it's only when we listen and listen and listen again, we can make sense and we can start to, you know, we can start to see the next chapter. Sometimes people get lost and say, oh my God, after this webinar, I didn't really understand what they are saying. No, there is a lot of information in webinars, lot of information. Sometimes we get the wrong information and sometimes we get the right information. But it depends on you, which information you want. Do you want the right information or you do want the wrong information? There are times that I say, you know what? We need to grow and move to the next chapter, but you need to pick and choose where your information is coming from. You know, I must not like Minoo. I don't have to like Minoo, but I want Minoo to give me that right information. That's the only way I can grow. I don't need to like Maddie. I don't need to like Mike Ellis here, but I want to stick, you know, glue to them because I need that information. At the end of the day, we have a business in ONPASSIVE. You don't have to like me. I don't really care if you like me, but like the information because I can stick with my information and hit this side, become very, very successful. It is not about likability, it's about information. Even at work, I was listening to something today. At work, your colleagues are not your friends. You are just there to spend 6 hours, get what you can get, and disappear. That is it. You are there for your family and yourself. It's not your friends. If you have a friend there, somebody who can reason like you, God bless you. But most of the time we get a job, That is not your friend. It's just a working place for you to make 7 hours and go back. ONPASSIVE have brought all of us together as a one big family. I will call it again. Mr. Ash Mufareh brought all of us together as one big family. Build this community. Sometimes we can like somebody and sometimes we can say no, but the most important thing is the information we are getting. And that is where the true transformation will come. When you build a business on passive, you become very successful and you can change the life of others. That is exactly what Mr. Ash Mufareh is doing. And that is what this company will do for all of us. You know, we can accept it or reject it. But to be honest with you, this platform is great. Mike Ellis is here, Madi Digamo, a lot of people. We need to know where we are going. If you don't know where you're coming from, you will never know where you are going. You know, we came as individuals, but now we build a very big family in here. And we're talking about the next chapter. If you don't know where you are coming, you will never know the next chapter. The next chapter is so close, as Mike Ellis said, and it is bigger and better than what we think. But are we ready to receive the next chapter? How much have you learned from the day you joined until now? That will determine your next chapter. The company already know where they are going, but the next chapter depends on you, how you want to receive it, you know, and how you want to understand it and follow direction and a lot of things for you to be where you want to be. Like from the beginning, when I've said this in a lot of webinars, I said the company Mr. Ash Mufareh has built is massive, it's endless, you know, it's unlimited, but only us will have that limitation. Wherever you want your limitation to be, whatever you desire, you can make it in this company. If you said, I want to go right above unlimited, it is there. Sky is our limit. Some people sky is our limit, but I said sky is not our limit. Maybe the universe can be our limit, because when you go right to space and the black matter, you cannot see anymore. You say, all right, this is my limit. But the universe can be our limit, because above the universe, maybe is God. You know, but let us try as much as possible to learn. And as we look, you know, towards the next chapter, we must be patient and we must believe in Mr. Ash Mufareh, and we must trust the vision of Mr. Ash Mufareh, because only he alone can tell us where we are going and nobody else. He is the captain of the ship and he is the boss. I always call him the boss, the captain. He says, oh, I'm not the boss. He is the captain of the ship and we must follow his direction. For us to succeed, to be successful, we must follow the direction of the captain of the ship, who is Mr. Ash Mufareh. So, Minoo, I will leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Collins. Amazing. You always encourage being dynamic and do not be static. Always try to learn, stay as much, keep up with technology, because as you said, technology is moving and you're going to be left behind. So do your best to stay up to date as much as possible and seek the factual information. In the meantime, collaborate, learn from one another, and try to teach. If any skills you have, be generous on that to teach it to others. And when you get to the point that you want it to always get, don't forget uplifting somebody else. And you were mentioning if you can affect one person, and there is so many, 1.4 million of us, and then or two people each of us, that's going to have so much ripple effect. Thank you. You also said the limitation is the sky, but you know, in another way, the limitation could be in between our ears. So self-positive talk and try to line up our heart with the mission of the humanitarian mission of the company, and write down, start with small goals, and those goals could be manipulated and changed and developed as we go. Right? Thank you, Collins. So with that, let's go to Noral. Noral, would you say a few words on the topic, please? Thank you, Colin.
Crikey, Nelly. Third up today. So I've been doing a little bit of thinking about it all. Because the next chapter took me to my book, right? I'm an author. I wrote a book. And how does that happen? You know, like, where do we start? The chapters, you know, there's so many chapters within ONPASSIVE, and please forgive me for jumping around a little bit like Marty tonight, because I hadn't prepared, because sometimes I just like to let it flow. But, you know, when you write a book, the book is ONPASSIVE. You know, I wrote my book about, my book is my autobiography about life, but we can assimilate them very similar to that, because in the beginning, there's the planning, which we know Ash Mufareh had many years of planning, with, I suppose, a direction of what he wanted to do, but it didn't happen until God's timing allowed it. You know, so we all plan, what do you want to do in your book? What chapters are you going to write? You know, it's about the thinking about what is it that's going to be those words, those chapters. How do you begin? So you start writing, and Ash started to write, and he wrote and he wrote and he wrote, and he said, you know, he gave us chapters, little chapters in the beginning. You know, one thing that you have to think about is what is this going to be? You know, Ash talks about value, and what can I bring of value to society, to humanity? So what are you writing in your life right now? Because I believe we're all writing different chapters, and we have the choice to do that. You know, once you've written those chapters, then you have to go back, because they ask you to write without, you know, punctuations or editing or anything like that. Then you have to go back over it. So sometimes what is written is not necessarily what comes out the other end. We know that the certain tools and products of ONPASSIVE are forever increasing, changing, getting better, being of more value. So Ash is writing those chapters again and again to make sure that it comes out to be the very best. You know, you start to edit and you see all these things, and maybe you get an editor, which I had for my book. And what they do is they help you to expand your story, because what's coming out of your mind is your participation in what happened. So Ash has surrounded himself with, you know, an amazing new tech team that are pushing him to expand. You know, he's always had it there, but sometimes we all need those people beside us to uplift us, to expand, you know, to push us further than what we think we can go, because you're right, our limitations are our own, because they're in our mind. We can't do that, we can't do this, I'd never be able to do that, you know, so we limit ourselves. Then we ask for feedback and finalization. You know, one of the things with feedback is you have to be prepared for somebody saying, oh, I didn't like that bit, or yeah, that's good, but I didn't really understand it, or it didn't flow, or something like that. So, you know, having feedback from people, which is us as the founders. We have given feedback over time and time again to Ash when things haven't been 100%. So those chapters that are being written, and yes, we all talk about, you know, Ash will be able to do or put a movie together, or there'll be books about the journey within ONPASSIVE. You know, how many times will you sit down and think about that? What you played, what your part was that you played within this book, you know, within this script of what happened to me, what happened to them. You know, we see it happening daily, that people are a little bit confused, a bit worried and things like that. But in the end, that book is then put together. You know, it's been edited, it's been finalized, you've got your feedback. And what do you have? The next thing is publishing and marketing. Everybody thinks that when you write a book, you just put it out there and a million people are going to buy it. You know, a million people are going to see it. You know, we've all been out there. We talk about the products and tools of ONPASSIVE, But at the end of the day, the hardest part of anything in business is the marketing, and it's going to be done for us. You know, I wish I could say that about my book, that you could just go out there and, you know, and again, the products and tools and the platforms will be available to me from those tools of ONPASSIVE. However, you know, you do have to go out there and do something when you write a book. It took me from inception to end 2 years because I had a big story. It took me 6 months to actually write my book because it was so emotional, you know, and releasing. And the same is with ONPASSIVE. We see the different feelings, the emotions that come from each of us, because each of us is on an individual, as Colin said, journey, you know, and we feel different emotions, but we know the outcome is going to be that we have stayed the course and we have finished that book. The book is close to those end chapters, so to speak, and now we're ready to get it out there and launch it to the world, and the world will pick it up and read it. Just as many people say to me, I read your book in 2 days, because you can't put it down. This is something, I'm relating it to that because I feel the same about ONPASSIVE. You can't put it down. We have become a beautiful big family. We have, you know, united together. We stand with similar, if not the same, feelings of hope for humanity, bringing that change about. But just have a look at your life, your chapters. What are your chapters? You know, like I said, I've compared that today to ONPASSIVE as best I can, you know, and I just want to say thank you for being a part of my chapter, part of my book, because there'll be more of, obviously, but I just want to say thank you for being a part of my story and my journey, because it really has made my life completely different. Thank you, Minoo.
Beautiful. Thank you, Narelle. Everybody, we are in Narelle's book. Hey, thank you for your book analogy and planning around it. So besides learning skills and following leaders and learning from them and absorbing their insights, Sherry Dershui, what else can we do to prepare for the next chapter? We are all in different walks of life. Some of us dime to dime, we go with our lives, some paycheck to paycheck. Some of us were worried when is the rent money for the next month is going to be earned. And some of us are a little bit more comfortable, but most of us, it's probably easy to say that never been in that position of like abundance. Personally, I think when I get there, it's a lot easier to know what I'm going to do. What do you think, Sherry Dershui, as speaking to for the next chapter preparation? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. What a great topic. Everybody's been wonderful who's talked already. Well, your next chapter also has to do with your mental. For us to go to the next level on what we'll be getting and what we plan on doing and helping the others around the world, we have to work on our mental. And that could mean anything from meditating to praying more to reading books that have to do with that, whether it be with budgeting, like what Mike Ellis said, or it be with just preparing yourself and making yourself better. And this is a big one, hanging out with like-minded people who do not put you down. And in ONPASSIVE, it's a whole different world here. We lift each other up. And so to me, that part of the next chapter of keeping a level head and not letting it go outside ourselves when we do have more than we're used to, we need to bring it back down to where we came from. Be humble, keep being your the way you were, only more in a more positive and uplifting way. Be willing to share more. Be willing to lend a hand more if you don't already. Maybe because you work so much or whatever it is. Be that person who just listens. Do you know that that's important? That's uplifting. That is moving you to another level as well. Just listening to somebody. That's why I love coming on here, is because I'm listening to other people's ideas. I'm listening to and it like triggers things in my head of what to say, or it triggers something on what I want to do to help somebody. Just taking that next step, next chapter, which is your mental. So if things are going wrong in your life, which I know life can really be a struggle with, there's people out there who have bad health, there's people out there who have no finances, and they're just living paycheck to paycheck. There's people who have not this or that, but I leave it in the hands of the higher power. Whatever you believe in, that's what I do. And I also meditate. And I also have all my family, my brothers and sisters here in ONPASSIVE that I can go to. So to me, that's phenomenal. And knowing that we're going to reach others, like I said before, is the next chapter in ONPASSIVE. We have already had several chapters, but the next chapter is knowing that you can help somebody, and that person can help somebody, and that person, and we just spreads. So there's going to be like so many chapters, because we're not just one thing. Remember, it's so cool is we're a lot of things. I always say in my life, we're a gazillion things, because we're not only the new age internet folks with using AI. We're going to have other products that are also going to be uplifting you out there and helping the world. So to me, that's also going to help our mental, right? Because when we know that our world's in a better place, we're a little more calmer. And knowing that, because of ONPASSIVE, has put us in that, has brought that movement into position, that to me is incredible. And when people hear that, they will gravitate toward that. And that next chapter will also be a chapter for them. Wouldn't that be cool? I just think that's going to be so cool to have to read. I mean, we already hear amazing miracles, amazing stories now. Can you imagine what they're going to be later? So the next chapter is never going to end. There's going to be so many chapters, and you're going to want to open that book, and you're going to want to read it like Norel says. You're going to want to read it fast, because you want to get the feeling. You want to get that deep heart feeling that you have deep down inside to spread to others, and others will feel that, and it's going to make the world much more loving, more peaceful, and more happy. And when back to the knowing that you're important and you matter. And so that's why I share that, because it's also going to bring more of that to the world as well. That's all I have. Thank you so much. And ONPASSIVE, many more chapters to come, and I can't wait to read more and more of them, faster and faster. And you are all in my books as well, even though I don't write books. You're in my heart.
Thank you, Sherry. Listening to you, watching your lives always transmits this energy and excitement, and I find myself a higher rate of heartbeat and shaking. Just you transmit that energy. You have that talent. Thank you. Talking about when everything gets rolled in, there's going to be so much excitement waiting for us that meditation, yes, is necessary to center ourselves, or saying prayers that God, please give me the wisdom and clear my way to see what to do next and do good and do the right thing. Margie, earlier today, I was listening to some inspirational videos, and there is tons of them at our fingertip at YouTube. We're grateful for that. I learned that thinking your thought is very important. When you think about something, the next step is it comes to words. The next step is comes to action. Next is it becomes a habit. And next, it becomes your character. So it's very, very important to control your mind, do positive self-talk, and line up with a great mindset and just improve it the way you want, imagine yourself the way you want it to be. Marty, I would love for you to continue on that, please. Thank you, Sherry.
Well, yeah, I'll try. I mean, I'll talk so much, I can't remember where I left off. First, I want to say we talk about the next chapter. One of the coolest things about the next chapter, we're in it. We're part of it. We're not reading something, we're living it. And very important thing about this next chapter is we're in good hands. We should all know that by now. Ash Mufareh is making sure of that. 46 years since I graduated high school. I've been in regular business, I've been in 1. Online business, I've been in 80. All my life, from the day I left high school, I have never, ever, ever, never been in a company, whether it's online or offline, that the CEO and the people around him are focused on the people below them. So you want to talk about the future, we're in for the ride of our life. There's things we know. There's some things we don't know, but we know this. Ash Mufareh will pay us as much as he legally can. Boom. He'll go out of his way to make sure we're taken care of before even himself. Let's remember, in the equation of this amazing company, there's one thing missing. Him. When he talks about wealth, when he talks about all this stuff, he focused on everybody else. Now, will he do well? I think he could be the richest man in the world, but it's not his goal. You can't be money hungry and spend as much as Ash did in the last 6 years, okay? You can't be, because his goal was more than that. It was about this chapter coming. And like Sherry said, there's no end to this, but this new chapter is the beginning of abundance and wealth and life-changing for all of us. It starts to our choices in life will increase now quickly as our time on this world goes. Where before, time is ticking faster and faster. You know what it's like. That hourglass is sand's barely coming out when I was 15, waiting to be 17 so I could drive a car. Then 30 comes along, I look, and the neck of that hourglass is bigger and bigger. The sand is freaking pouring through that big. And then I hit 40. I don't remember being in my 50s. Now I'm 60. What the frick? But the cool thing is, when I'm going to tell you a story I didn't tell anybody. Mike knows. He was in it. We could market, we could build teams. No doubt about it. We could sell anything. I believe that. But it was always a missing piece. The missing piece, which I found out very quickly after I got in this company, was Ash Mufareh, the person running the ship. We were in a business on our way, and I'm talking to you as a broke guy, on our way to make 50 grand a month. When we found out it wasn't good for everyone, we quit. And it was the easiest thing we ever did. But we quit because it started to look, you almost forget yourself. Wow, look at what's going on. This is amazing. $600, $700, $800. I'm like, whoa, this is, and all of a sudden it hits you. And it hit us at the same time. What about Johnny, Mary, Larry, Harry, Barry? They're not doing so well. Why? They can't drive traffic. That's it's a key thing that's missing. And the guy that was running the outfit didn't even have a name. He was some kind of JX or XP or whatever. He wouldn't even say who he was. So anyway, we quit that. And being here and knowing what Ash has, I know I talked about today about expectations. I know people, years have gone by. I've been here 5.5 years. Did I do everything I could? No, but I tried. Am I owed anything? I don't think so. Because I met a lot of people. It didn't cost me anything. I talk. You all know, and I enjoy that. I'm on webinar, so live every day. People say, oh, I don't know how you do it. I enjoy it. You enjoy doing it. It's not a job. What would I be doing? The day I came in on passive, the end of January or end of February, in 2019 to now, over 5.5 years, what would I be doing? I'd still be 64, but I might not even be here. I found people. You start to change. You walk different. You talk different. You start thinking about your health. You start thinking how you eat. You start thinking beyond you. And I've noticed the more I focus on others and help people and focus, it takes away the crap going on in my life because you're focusing on somebody else or something. We all got crap in our life. Trust me. Everybody looks at us. He's a multimillionaire. He's got it made. He has sickness. He has people dying. He has people ripping him off at unbelievable pace. His name was beat up on the internet. He was treated like crap. But what does he do? He keeps going. A normal person, I don't like normal people. None of you are normal. Nobody would come into a business 2.5 years to 5 or 6 years and not make a dime and still be here. Thank God you guys are abnormal. I found out that I'm glad we met. We've been sifted out. There's normal people, they're not here, and then there's crazy freaking people like us. But in the long run, in this journey, that this next chapter, we're going to win, and we're going to win big. And then you'll see the people that were in the middle and they didn't know where to go. They were nervous. They're coming. Go look at the Field of Dreams when he built that baseball field. I say it again. Only people that saw it is the ones that believed. And when everybody else started to realize it's true, everybody saw it. And everybody came to see him play. That's going to happen in the next chapter. Ash will come out, tell us what we need to do. He's going to tell us the story of the hell on earth that he had from last year until June, I guess it was. But I felt there was something wrong. Why would you? Well, because I'm that tied into watching and looking and listening. And, we believe Narelle said the wisdom, you gotta learn to think before you talk. I look at people, sometimes I've said stuff to people and afterwards I apologize because I don't know what happened to you that day. Why are we living such a tight line for others when we don't live it ourselves? You got to be patient and listen to people. But I guarantee this, whatever comes in the next chapter, no one on the planet would offer anything like that to you as long as you live. No one. Guaranteed. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe it. If when I got in, I said, me, Mike, and Dan talked, and I said, we're going to be multimillionaires. But if we can't bring people with us, we don't want it. We're only visitors here, right? Nobody's leaving here alive, not that I know of. So you need to make an impression. People will remember you by what you did, not how big my bank account is. But I'd love to see everybody's bank account grow. I'd love to see everybody have more time for that hourglass as it's pouring through that freaking neck. And remember, the beauty of the company is in Papua New Guinea, if they get the same $200 I get, yeah, it's changing. I can pay a couple things, maybe eat a couple days. In some of these poor countries, it's the lottery. It will change their life, the village, and many people around them. There's people I met in Russia that make $100 a month. And you remember, this company is colorblind, doesn't care what religion you are, doesn't care. He's going to set up a system. We're going to grab something, and we're all going to be able to be, if we want, any limit we want to be. Any limit. That's why I say since June, when we really didn't have a back office, that was the time then. But I sat and thought, what can we be doing that would help? And I realized, what the heck? This happened on purpose. That was the time when we grow together and people move forward. We're always hoping and dreaming, but we're not focusing on ourselves. And now I see people focusing on themselves. They're moving forward. They're involved. They're talking more. They're listening. We become tighter. And yes, we're going to go into this next chapter, and we will be shocked in a good way, in a very, very good way. But we have to remember, focus on, don't sit and worry about something you can't change. You know what the beauty of the company is? I don't have to worry about if people are going to like the products. If there's a video conferencing platform out there and a demand for it, which I believe is in the billions, and we have the best one in the planet, and it's 40 to 50% less than anybody, and you can get paid a commission on it, do you really have to be a rocket scientist to realize it's going to explode? And Ash, remember, whatever it is, wants to pay us as much as he legally can. There's countries in the world that you're not allowed to give away something at a company. There has to be an action to get money. I don't care. You remember we went into OES. What did we do? We signed up and he gave us $10, 10 O-coin. I thought it was funny as heck. Why are we getting paid to move forward? But look at the industry. It's all being done. We are not an MLM, so we're going to find out what do we need to do to go forward. But I'll tell you this. All of us will have a box, a golden toolbox. We get in it, we could do what we want. You could start slow and work up to unbelievable lifestyle. I believe that. I believe for everybody. And don't focus on others. Don't look at him. But what about her? What about me? Let Marty worry about Marty. Help others, but worry about yourself. Don't convince somebody or tell somebody what they need to do. You don't tell somebody what to do. Offer their help, encourage them. Let me tell you, Chris said something to me yesterday, and Chris worked 7 days a week, double shift for years, like a crazy man. And you know what he said? He didn't tell me about the money he made. By the way, he worked for a motor company, so he did very, very well. Chris is making CEO money. No joke. But he has no time. You know what made him feel the best? When the plant manager walked up and said, Chris, you really did a good job. That doesn't cost anything. It's free. And Ash is always throwing out his love to somebody. If I'm in a meeting with Ash, no joke, and I was in a meeting when there's a few people, everybody in the room was talking about you. And if it ever goes off course, Ash will bring you right back to, well, what about, and how can we make it better for them? No joke. He's never wavered. That's why Marty DeGarmo's here. That's why I think the next chapter is going to blow us away. I think what happened was nasty, and I'm glad it happened. I think it took 6 years. You know why? Because it was meant to take 6 years. And if it takes a couple more months, it was meant to. When people ask you, when's this going to launch? Ash doesn't know. How's that sound? When everything lines up, he will come on a webinar and say, go. That's what's going to happen. And we're getting closer and closer to that day. But really, work on yourself, believe in yourself, and all of you are. You guys, you know, we have this thing and try to inspire people. Listen, I want to tell the truth. I'm more inspired than you are, watching people and seeing what they've done, really. And we're together. Anything we can do to help each other, if get there quicker or wherever it is we're getting, no doubt I would help do that. I'm going to be okay. But it means to me, everybody that cares is okay. Now, if somebody just wants to came back and lay on the table, no, eating bonbons with no shirt and barefoot, I don't care if you make it or not. Because you don't. I care about people that care. Not how good you are, but if you don't give a crap, got bad news for you. I don't either. There's too many people that care. And by the way, we haven't begun yet. I don't care what you think about this, that, and this, that, and this, that. When the doors open in the next chapter, that's where the fun begins. That's when we become on fire. You'll forget all about this journey. Guarantee it. The baby's going to be so beautiful, you're not going to remember any of the pain. Guarantee it. Anyway, I don't even know if I answered your question, Minoo.
Always. Thank
All
you.
right. Anyway.
Broad spectrum. So on one of your lives this last week, or maybe it was the day before yesterday, you covered features of a true leadership. You talked about charisma. And we all know how charismatic is Ash. When he shows up to our webinars, he has this calm and collected, composed personality with a genuine enthusiasm and smile. Also, you talked about how calm he is under pressure. And then after that, Chris Johnson brought the analogy of root tree analogy, which was amazing. Analogy of resilience. So Chris Johnson, do you think that resilience had anything to do with us getting to the next chapter? If you would speak to that, please.
Resilience, huh? That's a funny word for me. You know, you got these crazy questions you always give me. No, I'm gonna say no. I think that I think we all got here because we have a deep faith in what this guy tells us every week or every 2 weeks, or when he talks. I think that the pressure that he goes through, like you said, he enjoys it. He said it many times. He absolutely loves when there's a struggle or pressure, because that's probably when he's at his best. All of us here and whoever else is watching, we all go through a lot of struggles. Are they more than Ash? I don't know, because I don't know. I know most of you personally. I know Ash personally. I know that his struggles are bigger than ours, because, you know, I don't have governments, lawyers, different countries calling me saying you can't do this or you can't do that. You know, my worst thing lately is I get a lot of spam phone calls. And that's really not a struggle for me, especially, I mean, right now, everything that he's doing isn't for himself. And a lot of people, I think most founders understand that, but the outside world, they don't understand that, because like Marty said, they put a bunch of crap on the internet and people read it, and the first thing they believe it. I mean, you've heard that saying, don't believe everything you read. I've tried never to do that, but I've made that mistake once in a while. Ash Mufareh and his journey, and I mean, we all got a lot of chapters in our life. My whole life I lived as a chapter, believe it or not. When I was 12 years old, I started a thing, and I said, I can't wait till I'm 13. And then when I turned 13, what's the next chapter? I can't wait till I make my confirmation. There was another chapter. And I would go, I can't wait till I start high school, play football. Another chapter, graduate, another chapter, go to college, another chapter. All right. It's a constant battle in all of our lives, and they're not always pretty chapters. There's a lot of chapters I ripped out of my book because I don't want to remember them, where I made mistakes or heartbreaks or a lot of things. Now, if you take everything that Ash is going through, number one, he has a lot of heartbreaks. And I'm going to tell you why he's got a lot of heartbreaks. Because and I'm not blaming anybody, as we came into this company, me 4 years now. Congratulations, Norelli, too. Okay. I don't even know how to say it that way. When we came into this, his heartbreak was working so very hard for a lot of people all over the world, and yet a lot of them didn't respect what he was doing. Said the wrong things. But I believe that heartbreak, like everyone, made him a lot stronger, a lot wiser. Nobody's perfect. There was only one man on this earth that was perfect, and that was Jesus Christ. And I'm going to say it because I'm a Christian. But he's gone through more struggles than we can imagine. And it really is for the company, his family, all of us. And that's an amazing feat. I'll say it, and we've said it a few times. I don't know what person would ever want to put himself through that. We've seen the movies about the Fords, the Zuckerbergs, the rich tycoons that built something, and they all went through struggles, but you just didn't know about it because you weren't part of it. We've seen this from whenever you got into it, whether it was 6 years ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. You see what he went through. So what happens when you see everything? A lot of judgment gets passed. A lot of judgment gets passed. And yet he's still doing what he's doing. And he took some pretty big hits the last year. And he's still doing what he's doing. You are all still here. That tells me that the faith that you have in this resistance, in this system, is pretty strong. I mean, I could be doing something right now. But this is more important to me than to come on here and talk about this amazing company and what it's going to do for people. Hey, Chris, what? They don't have products. Yeah, they got products. They got products. And when it comes out, you won't ask me that question anymore. But when's it going to go, Chris? Soon. When it's ready. I never pull out a cake out of the oven until that timer goes off. And the timer hasn't gone off yet for Ash Mufareh. But when it does, he'll know. We'll all know. And it's going to go ballistic. I mean, we say all the time, we're crazy. We get it a lot. You guys are crazy. You're culty. All the bad stuff you could say about someone because they think they're getting under your skin. I've learned in the beginning, it bothered me a lot. I've learned it doesn't even matter. It's just some bad wind going over my arm, and I just let it fly by. But this chapter, for me, I hit every chapter in my life that I wanted to. Retired. I mean, my last chapter is death, to be morbid about it. But this chapter that I'm in right now, and I'm talking about just for me right now, I get to write it all by myself. I get to write what I want to do. I get to write and live the dreams I've always wanted to do because of Ash Mufareh, because of you people, because of this company and what it's going to allow and give me we don't have that much in this world. You all had jobs. You did what you had to do. Be here at 6 in the morning. You can leave at 5. You want overtime? I don't care if it's your kid's birthday. You need money. My boss was smart. He knew the people. He knew the people that really needed the money. And then he would ride them about it. You don't want to work Saturday? I thought you were broke. But it's my kid's birthday. No. You don't want to work Saturday? You told me you're broke. I don't want to hear it anymore. He'd make him feel guilty so that manager would get him to work. You know, it was a little trickery there. Me, I was different. They didn't have to tell me. Matter of fact, my boss's exact words to me were, "You're going to be here 7 days a week." He handed me a checkbook and said, "Write your own check, but you're going to be here 7 days a week for whatever we need you." I accepted the responsibility. Ash Mufareh accepted this responsibility because it is something that he's thought about since a kid. He handed us all checkbooks as far as I'm concerned. And he's saying, and this is my opinion, you're going to be able to write your own checks. You're going to be able to pay the phone bills without worry. And a lot of times we say, maybe we shouldn't say that. But you know what? The belief I have in my heart that this company is going to create a lot of wealth for a lot of people. And it's the people that really, really wanted it, really, really needed it. I don't know who doesn't need extra money or extra funds. I think everybody does. Like I said, living paycheck to paycheck is the absolute worst. I did it. I know a lot of you have done it or are doing it. I knew Mamadou works ungodly hours 7 days a week. He probably doesn't even have time to go grab an ice cream if he wanted one. That's just no way to live life. I've said it a million times. You can work and make a lot of money. I did that. Do I have a lot of regrets? Oh my God, I do. A lot of things I missed. Sorry, guys, I got to work. Dad, sorry, I got to work, man. That was the stupid mindset I had. At the time, it made sense to me. But now that I think about it, I can't get those opportunities or those times with my kids or my family. My job caused me to miss my father passing away in the hospital. You need to come back to work and sign papers if you want to take a leave of absence for your father. I said, can you just wait? No, we need you to do it now. As I left, he died. As I was on the road to work, he died. Gave me a lot of bitterness about my job, but I just kept doing it. Same with Ash Mufareh. I'm not comparing myself to Ash. I never could even compete with him, except when we go fishing. That's a different story. But he doesn't compete against anybody. All he really thinks about is the right thing to do, how to do it, have the right people that's going to help him do it. And I'm going to say that this foundership, there's a big majority, and a lot of you are on this panel or watching probably, have contributed to the success that we have right now. Ash Mufareh's hard work, our loyalty and faith. It adds up. Loyalty, faith, hard work creates success, and I don't care what anyone says. You got some people that are pretty rich in this world. Some are shooting rockets into space. Some are buying properties and yachts and all that. I've never heard Ash. Listen, the only thing I've ever heard, Ash talk about, he likes food. He likes really good food. But have you ever heard him say, I'm going to buy this big ass house every single country? I've never heard him say that. Never heard him say, I'm going to be buying Mercedes and Rolls Royce. I've never heard him say that. But yet this man works 7 days a week, probably a lot more hours than I can even think about, because he wants to make us happy. Anyone that says Ash Mufareh is not a true humanitarian, They have no idea. So what does he got to do? Get this unbelievable company up and running. Make believers out of people that even doubted him, but by then it's too late. You guys have believed for a long time. I've seen some of you come out with some emotions that blew me away, talking about things you're doing. Listen, I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people in the past I know personally that have always helped others or done things for other people. You know, Mark Olson told a story about bringing homeless people into his backyard and helping them out, get them on the wagon. He was doing that. All right. I believe in my heart that ONPASSIVE has opened the eyes and the hearts of many people to do good things. I was always a pretty good person about helping people, but not to this extreme. No way. His words and this company have made me think my life completely, wow, what I really can do. Is that, and Tanya's probably on here. She knows I love boats because I was just out boating with her a couple weeks ago. Is that a priority for me? That was always a priority for me. No, it's not a priority for me anymore. I don't even think about it. I got a little boat, or I go out on my brother's boat. Just not a priority. Some of the things that I thought about 6 years ago are not even in my bucket list anymore. Because I think the more that we think about other people, Ash Mufareh, what he does, the better life is going to get. So, Minoo, I probably didn't answer your question. I'm terrible about answering questions. I'd rather just talk about how I feel about this company. And there is, I can't even put into words how much I really love this company. Marty DeGarmo, Mike Ellis, Collins, I hope he went to bed. And all of you have taught me more in 4 short years than I've learned in my entire life, because I got to meet people of every different possibility, human being, color, race, gender, size. And I found out one thing, that you are all exactly like me, or I'm all exactly like you. And we really just want a better life. And really, that's all Ash has ever wanted to give us. Miss Minoo, I'm handing it back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Wow. Chris, you are one huge beating heart. That's all you are. That never changed. So, a common point that we keep hearing from people that you guys shine the light on is they say their stories and then they say, and I listened to Ash talking. And Ash seemed to have won everybody in this journey. You cannot fake genuinity. People are smart. Non-verbal communication is a lot stronger than verbal. Under the worst condition, back in June when Ash came to the webinar to break the news to us, under the hardest, most difficult condition, he put his hand on his heart, pledged that he will do or die, people. Hang in there with me. That's what he said. I'm trying to compose myself. Most common theme in the world is to step on every moral and ethical value for corporates and CEOs to get to where they want to get. That's exact opposite with Ash in ONPASSIVE. Mike Ellis, say a few words, please. Thank you.
You know, I've been listening to everybody, and you know, when I first came on, I love talking about wealth. I love talking about the concepts involved in building wealth. They have real value. Is that really what I want to talk about? And I love talking about that. It's not. What I really would love to talk about is this beautiful company that's been built over the last 6 years by Mr. Mufareh, what he's done, especially focusing on the last year, because the last year took us from a place that was really, really good. And it was, even though he had to go through a lot of things. And because of those things, he brought the talent in that would take us to that next level. And I listened to Marty and I have to laugh. You know, Marty, Dan, and I, we're pretty good at what we do. And what we try and do is we try and stay 3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead of where we think Mr. Mufareh is going to go. Okay. And it's not that he tells us anything, because he doesn't. It's just that we've been doing this a very, very long time. And I listened to Marty, and he's nibbling around the edges, guys. Understand that. He wants to explode and tell you things that we just can't talk about right now. And again, these aren't things that Mr. Mufareh has shared with us. He really hasn't. But Dan, Marty, and I, we talk all the time. There are things that we believe we know are coming, but we also know that Mr. Mufareh wants to come out, and he wants to give, he wants to make those announcements. He wants to give those surprises. He wants everybody just to be flabbergasted when he comes out and really explains everything that's going on. The journey of this company over the last 6 years for me has just been absolutely unbelievable. Marty talked about does Mr. Mufareh owe us anything? No, he doesn't owe us anything. He's already paid us. If you've been listening, if you understand what he's talking about, if you learn from Mr. Mufareh, we've learned more in the last 6 years than we did in the first 10 years of business. So we've already been paid in spades by Mr. Mufareh. I mean, really, the things we've learned with this journey of really this beautiful business that Mr. Mufareh has made has been extraordinary. But Marty says it really, really, this is just the start, guys. It's not the finish. It's just the start. And what's going to be coming, and I have to bite my lip. I literally have to bite my lip so I don't say something I know I shouldn't say. But what's coming, it really is going to blow you away. And I think what I would say to everybody right now, we're coming into phase 2. Mr. Mufareh has told us that. We're coming into phase 2. And what you need to do something, and then you need to finish strong. What does that mean? Mr. Mufareh is going to come out very quickly. He's going to tell us what he wants us to do, what he needs us to do. Do it. And then finish strong by understanding what he tells us, what he's going to be telling us. What we've had over the last 6 years is phenomenal. It really is. It's better than anything I've ever seen in all the businesses I've been in for the last X amount of years. Anything, way, way better than anything online. What he's going to be explaining to us, when he's done, you're going to understand, not only are you in the right place, but there was never a place like this in the history of business, period. It's funny. Marty, Dan, and I were talking the other day, and it just dawned on me. ONPASSIVE is the only company in the world that's ever done this. They focus on what he focuses. Mr. Mufareh, not they, but primarily, I'm sure all of them do, but Mr. Mufareh is the focal point. He focuses on what he can do for you. Now, when you think about that, I mean, literally, when you think about that, there is no other place in the world that you can go in business and get that. You go to another company, they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about their employees. They're not thinking about their customers. They're thinking about the bottom line. Mr. Mufareh, his first initial thought, Marty said this, is you. And then you take that and you start to extrapolate that out over the next weeks and months to come. And obviously that's what Marty, Dan, and I do. That's what gets us in trouble. It is going to be extraordinary. You need to understand that. Mr. Mufareh, he is focused on you personally. And he wants you to be able to get to that place of financial independence. I love to talk about finance. I love to talk about wealth. I love to talk about all that stuff. But what I love to talk about more than anything is ONPASSIVE. And today I have a little bit in, as does Marty. And there are only so many things we can say. But Mr. Mufareh, in the next weeks to come, he's going to come out. He's going to have stuff for all of us. Get excited, because it's going to get really, really fun, really, really quick. And I believe that. I just believe that he is going to do that, and he's going to do it very, very quickly. Minoo, I'll turn it back over to you. That's just, I don't know if you wanted to hear that or not, but I have to put it out there.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, as you said, we have been paid off in many ways. We have this family together. We have a safe place to go every night. We say group prayers together. We have healing to do with each other, and supportive and being respected. It's just a warm environment. We have personal and group transformations. We have learned technology and many insights. Yes, we have been paid by many other ways. Collins, despite all of the obstacles and death in the family, right? Not one, not two, three. Most of us take 3 business days for bereavement. Business days. Did Ash take any day off? Did Ash even try to put the load on anybody's shoulder, the load of grief? He's carrying it all by himself. And despite all of that, he calls and he checks on Chris and Marty. Is there anything I can do for you? Collins, speak to that, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Minoo. That's really a good question and a good point. You know, to be honest with you, Ash doesn't need anything from us. He doesn't need anything because he's the one, footing the bills. He's the one doing everything. Remember the last founder, when we came in, the last founder, and if you calculate how much we have put in, $97, maybe when we activated our account, nobody have done anything again. But when you look at it, just a lot of founders don't know this, and I'm saying this really here because it's live. We use OConnect for almost a year, more than a year, OConnect. Just look at the maintenance bill for OConnect. Maintenance. If you want to maintain, because you are paying the bills, because it's like meter, so you pay AWS. Every time it's millions upon millions of dollars they are paying, because they look at how many participants, how many concurrency across the globe, just for OConnect. So if we said, all right, for 1 year, Mufareh paid tens of millions, and we have never added anything back from the day we activated our account, and we're expecting something. The company has been paying that just for OConnect. Let's look at ONET. We've been putting a lot of data on ONET from the day they launched ONET before OConnect. I think we used ONET for almost 2 years because they were all free products. What about OMail? All these applications need a hosting place, and all those heavy data goes to AWS. So what is happening now? Let's say hundreds of millions Mr. Akbar have put into it. How much did we pay? Say 1 million people, you calculate. I've worked that mathematics, I work it out. I discovered that, you know what? We paid nothing, because if Mr. Akbar were to use our money, let's say use our money to cover that bill, for 1 year, that money will be gone, because we're not talking about paying the engineers. So, and he always come out and smile and say, stick with me. He always says, stick with me because I will take you there. Stick with me. He is not going anywhere. He said, you are not sweating. You are not doing anything, but I would look after you, because that is his dream and his vision. So sometimes when founders they say, oh, I've done this, oh, I've worked a lot, we have done nothing. And even what I'm doing here, Minoo, right? I'm doing it out of my own time. Mr. Ash Mufare is not telling me to come here and do it. So I don't need any reward from Mr. Ash Mufare, because I love what I'm doing to help others. So if things happen, we can all achieve our dream in ONPASSIVE. The people who are working for Mr. Ash Mufare are the tech team, the engineers, the marketers, and those he is paying them. And they are spending a lot of money to keep this on our behalf. The only thing we need to do to Mr. Ash Mufare is say thank you. Because some company would have just disappeared and gone forever. There is nothing we can do. And if I look at it, because I would not say, oh, Mr. Alfred took this, I would think about myself, oh, I came in with $97. So what is $97? Most of us have lost more than $97. Even the money you put in your gas, you know, your car you drive every day, go to work, come back. Ask yourself. Sometimes we spend money for silly things. We don't even look at it. Then when we said, all right, we want to put money somewhere that will change our life, we think like this is gold and silver. You know, sometimes I ask myself, is it really normal? Just take it as something that you can even go one night out and you spend time with your friend, have a good time. You spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you come back and say you feel good. But that money will never come back. But what Mr. Ash Mufare have done for us is massive. And it's even shameful. Sometimes I used to speak to Maddie. I said, I don't know where I will put my face. When things will roll, I don't know what I can say. If somebody asks me, Collins, what did you really put in? I'll be ashamed to say it, because even if I say it, they'll not believe me. We just have to be grateful, show gratitude to this man and the family. Sometimes he spends less time with his family. Most of the time is with the team. And sometimes come and have time with us when you want to relax. Come to the founding member and have time with them. But if you ask us, any of us have done anything, I would say no. Because even if you look at it, I go back to the Bible. When they came to Paul, you know, they were talking about some of the apostles. I know I'm a Christian. Sorry if I bring this out. But this is what I wanted to say. Going back to the Bible, they came to Paul. They were grumbling. You know, they talk about this person. Oh, who have done more work? You know, the person who plant or the person, you know, this person have done. So Paul asked him a question. When you go to the field, the person who have plant, the person who till the soil, and the person who plant, the person who water the soil, who have done more work, all of them were looking at Paul. Paul told them, he said, you know what? None of them have done anything. Only God who ensured that the plant will grow. So we are here. We shouldn't say we've done anything, because we are not sweating. We are not paying anything. Whether we are here having this webinar or we don't have any webinar, or nobody has any webinar. There are IT companies that have never had any webinar, no founders. Elon Musk is their example. Who run webinar for Elon Musk? He's the world richest man. Jeff Bezos, who run webinar for Jeff Bezos? He doesn't care if somebody does anything. When we are here, we just have to be grateful and thankful that Mr. Ash Mufare created us that platform to commune with each other. We are all equal, you know, before, even they say we are all equal, created equal before eyes of God. Only Mr. Ash Mufare is the head. So when sometimes someone says, oh, I've worked, I've done a lot of it, you've done nothing. This man is sweating every day, sleepless night, spending the money, you know, paying engineers to sleep and work for us. What we are doing here is to show gratitude, you know, and thankful that they've created a platform where we can be seen and commune with each other. So, Minoo, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I want to share.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Collins. Yes, Ash always encourages us not to pay attention or spend any time on negativity. He is laser focused and has eyes on the prize for us. And as you said, the only thing he asks us is to be happy and hang in there. And he often says, follow me, I'll take you to places. Thank you, Collins. Marty, it's your turn, and I would like for you to wrap this up, this amazing session. Marty, the floor is yours.
I had to raise my hand. Anyway, first thing is I feel really good because nobody answered your questions. It wasn't just me. But anyway, it turned out good. Another thing I want to point out, carnivore works. If you want proof, look at Norel and Marcian. They both have went back 5 years in age. Kind of sucks because that didn't happen to me. But no, you know, I'm going to say something. Ash does have an agenda. He does. You know what it is? He built a business that drew people in from the heart. Yeah, we need money and all that, but it was the heart that kept us here, because most people would have left. And I'm not saying everybody else doesn't have a heart, but you know what I mean? We came in like more by faith, right? Why did he do it? He knew if he gets people like this and he can help them build wealth. He says it. Fill up your gas tank, fill up your whatever you want to, change your address, get a car, pay off debt. At that point, he knew the only way to paint this world a different color is have 1 million people with a paintbrush. So he had an agenda to send us out to be able to do that, because he told me one time when we first met him, I think Mike was there, that he would take his kids out and his wife, and they gave water and food to the poor. And he went, how much can I do by myself? And how much can I do with 1 million people? And by the way, we just started. Like I said, there'll be 10, 15, 20 million people with the same concept. Some won't. Not everybody's going to be the same, but I'm saying it will matter. That's why it matters. You be who you can be 100%, because people that will be drawn to you are the very people you're sitting with right now. That's going to happen. But you got to be ready for it. You got to be willing and able. We talk about agenda. I had an agenda. I had an agenda almost every month I was in. First met the OTech pros. My agenda was, wait a minute. We get these guys involved, and I'll stop here, and when are we going to freaking launch? Because they can explain the technology even if they don't understand it, and maybe it'll calm that down. It did. But I was overpaid. My payback was unbelievable. Why? They were all IT guys that were in ONPASSIVE. Now they're the company that happens to be IT guys. Every one of them, Colin's right here. If he spoke tonight, you have no idea it was IT if you were in any other company. He spoke about the company, how much he loved it and what it meant. Never mentioned a word he was IT. Why do I point people up and call them diamonds? Because I got a selfish reason. I think the strength of the company is people. And if I can find somebody that I think makes a difference, I shine the light on them and push them up as high as I can. Because the more we do that, the stronger the core becomes, the stronger the company becomes. Name one company that starts off with 1 million customers. I don't know any. And then you have people, everybody here that makes an impact on somebody else. All of you. I can go across the screen. Norel, no doubt. Everybody in ONPASSIVE knows Norel. Minoo, even the short amount of time we knew you, freaking everybody knows you. Everybody. Chris Johnson, oh my God. Michael, no, I'm just kidding. No, but you know what I mean? Everybody knows Chris. Got a big heart. Mike Ellis. Mike Ellis is probably the best known video guy in ONPASSIVE. And half of them never made it to the show. I'm just kidding, Mike. Sherry Dershowitz, biggest heart in the planet. Always helping, always saying something positive. Always. Dr. Benny, biggest smile in the world, always here, trying to help, being positive. Mamadou came in and he played a trick on me. I thought he was always kidding around. He made a speech a couple of weeks ago, knocked me the freak out. Knocked me out. That's why I say never judge a book by its cover, because that book is amazing. Lily Lane looks like a model, but always in ONPASSIVE, always positive. Marcian, She is the energized bunny, right? And always positive, but forcefully positive. She'll help you do anything, but she's the one. You can do that. No, don't do that. Get back over here and act right. That's the way we need to be. Jennifer, everybody knows Jennifer. Everybody. We get trivia. Okay, Jennifer's on. We're gonna have a trouble winning. All right, but she's good-hearted and big. And Mark Olson, right? He doesn't come out in the line, doesn't say that much, but when he does, what does he say? You look at him and you know he's saying, I don't have that much, but what I have, I'm giving away. Bringing people into his house, into his basement, whatever. In the open space he got, Mark's inviting them in their house. Sharon Whedon, I don't know her real well, but when she comes on, it's always positive and nice to people. And how are you? And what's going on? Myra. Oh, broken English. Don't feel sorry for that lady. She's a freaking genius. She knows more about America than I do. She can do anything. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, that is amazing. Miriam, I heard her talk the last couple of days, and I go, who the freak is that? Looks like Miriam, but that's what happens when you grow internally, and then yourself, you become. ONPASSIVE doesn't make you. That's a joke. You made you, but you felt comfortable coming out. And listen, all of you impact everybody else. But what charges me up is seeing that, really. Gemma, nobody's more positive than Gemma. She's always there, always so nice. She never gets, I mean, she might get mad, but I never seen it. But always positive, helping people. If you ask her something, she'll do anything for you. Kiana, the same thing. I remember seeing her name over and over and over in the chat on my lives. Then one day I met her. I said, wow, amazing. And you find out who they are and off the chart. William Delone, when I met him, truthfully, I thought, wow, he's really, really doing bad. Now, I don't know what happened, but I think he's jogging now and doing marathons or whatever. But he is not the same guy. And being around good, positive, upbeat, and getting rid. Look, I believe in getting rid of carbs, but I think negativity is as bad as carbs. I think negativity is as bad as sugar. Okay, so try to get rid of that. Don't try to change it. I tried to do that when I was younger, and I believe my mother said, "Are you a better speaker than Jesus Christ?" Dang, no. Well, negative people hung him on a tree. You can't change it. You go with the ones that want to go with you, and you get together with people to make you feel good. Because you want to feel good, surround yourself with people that make you feel good. Lose the pride. Look for people that are better than you, because it'll make you better. That's all I got.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you. Our heart is full. We will be ending this inspirational webinar with a warm, fuzzy feeling. I think I can speak that for everybody. But Marcian, you missed work to be here. At least say a couple of words before we wrap it up. Thank you. Thank you, Marty.
We're in a very, very unique place. And I know you guys hear this all the time, over and over and over and over again. We really are. In the weeks to come, things are going to be happening that everybody here has been waiting for. It's as simple as that. And I know, Marty talks about that hourglass and how it just starts to flow out. When you're waiting for Christmas, it gets very, very tight, and it's like it's not flowing at all, and the days feel like months. They're not. This thing is happening very, very quickly. Ash has some really, really extremely great talent at the helm. And what these guys are putting together, these guys and gals are putting together, is for us. And we're going to benefit from everything they're doing. Just, again, get ready, finish strong. Let's go into the next phase of this company. And when we enter the next phase, enter running, because that's what you want to do. You start running right away, And in a very short period of time, in my opinion, you're going to get to that place you want to get, you want to be, whatever that is, whatever that number is, you're going to be able to get there, and you're going to know exactly how you're going to be able to do it. Exactly. There aren't going to be any questions. So I'll leave it there, Minoo. That's enough.
Thank you so much for making time for us. Marcian Hemabu, wrap it up for us beautifully. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Can you all hear me? Yeah, thank you, Minoo. Thank you, everyone. This was a very great section. And what I learned tonight is a very positive thought about our next chapter. All of us, we have one. Because if there's a beginning, there's going to be an end, and there's at the middle. So we have this next chapter that we are going on. And remember, the next chapter is something that you believe like it's already there. If you keep believing, you're going to have it. That's our next chapter. And it's going to be better. We are going to turn the page to what happened yesterday, because that was the beginning. And we are forwarding to the next one, which is going to be more beautiful. So let's keep on having that hope, that faith. And let's be assured that our yesterday is never going to be together as our tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be better. Let's go to bed, and thank you, everyone, to be here tonight.
Thank you, Marcian. Thank you, each and every one of you lovely friends and family. Thank you so much for making time. Collins, thank you so much for being here. Love you all, and until we meet again. Bye-bye.